On Beyond Stardom this time, 5 overachievers who rarely take time out to put their feet up. This Beatle baby designed the wedding dress for Madonna's marriage to director Guy Ritchie in the year 2000. At the time, Stella McCartney was working as chief designer of Paris fashion house Chloe, much to former chief designer Karl Lagerfeld's disgust, who reportedly declared, "Chloe should have taken a big name. They did, but in music, not fashion. Let's hope she's as gifted as her father." Despite the vote of no confidence, Stella proved she had indeed inherited Sir Paul's creative talent, dramatically increasing Chloe's sales and winning VH1 Vogue's 2000 Designer of the Year award. She ditched the training wheels the following year and set up her own label with the help of Italian superbrand Gucci. Within 3 years, she'd opened stores in New York, London and LA, picking up celebrity customers like Cameron Diaz, Gwyneth Paltrow and Annie Lennox, and earning the nickname Unstoppable Stella. While some uncharitable critics may have attributed her meteoric rise to nepotism, Sir Paul is first in line to big up his daughter's design talent, insisting it's all her own work.
It's fantastic. She's always great. I love her, obviously. I'm biased. But I think she does a great job. She's very hard-working. She pulls the whole thing together. Has a very whole approach. And beautiful clothes that women want to wear.
And are you looking
I
for...
want to wear them.
Rocker Courtney Love also adores her work.
I thought it was great. I love the sweaters. I love the baby doll thing, of course. Don't laugh at me. And I love the shoes.
She's real fun.
I think she's great.
Whether or not Stella's ride to the top has been greased by her father's fame and contacts, she certainly hasn't simply sat back and cashed in. In 2004, as well as rolling out her new label, she designed tour costumes for Madonna and Annie Lennox, and kitted out Gwyneth Paltrow and Jude Law for the sci-fi epic Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Even more impressively, she broke new ground in a joint venture with sportswear giant Adidas. The trailblazing partnership gave birth to a sports performance collection for women called Adidas by Stella McCartney.
Normally in the sporting arena they're always black, or the colour palette's very limited, and that's something I think that we've lent to this collection, and that you're introducing some more sensual colours in winter.
Her fresh design approach did a great job of revamping the tired brand.
She has classical English tailoring background. At the same time, she's quite street cred, and she's also got a lot of influence from the time she's been showing in Paris. And on top of it all, she's a woman, and we wanted a woman to design for women.
The entire line sold out within hours of going on sale. It was the same story 3 years later when she designed a cut price range for Australian department store Target. But it's not just the hoi polloi who've been impressed with her work. British fashion critic Hilary Alexander has given Stella's designs the thumbs up. So has TV star Patsy Kensit.
Oh, just her sense of, individual style, and her cuts so great with her, her clothes. And I feel, as a woman in her 30s, I love wearing her clothes because they feel appropriate, yet with a bit of edge.
That appraisal certainly fits with Stella's own ambition, which is to design for working mothers like her.
Well, it's always the same inspiration for me. It's always women, really, just real women, and I think what women want and need in today's world.
One thing she's adamant women don't need in today's world is fur. Following in the footsteps of her late mother Linda, the strict vegetarian is devoted to her work for people for the ethical treatment of animals. While pregnant with her second child in 2006, she was honoured for her commitment to animal-friendly fashion.
The way that we were brought up was a huge part of the way me and Mary now sort of live our lives, and I really would like to thank my mum and dad, obviously, for their influence and guidance to show us and educate us about just treating fellow creatures with respect. So I guess this award is for my mum, who I'm sure would she'd be so proud.
This film festival founder's first outing as a director in 1980's Ordinary People won him an Oscar. Born Charles Robert Redford Jr. in Santa Monica, California, he studied art and acting in New York City before earning his acting stripes in live television dramas. He found his first success on the big screen opposite Jane Fonda in the 1963 adaptation of Neil Simon's play Barefoot in the Park. Leading roles in big films quickly followed, playing a bank robber in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, an idealistic politician in The Candidate, and teaming up with Paul Newman in The Sting. As the 1970s wore on, he portrayed Bob Woodward opposite Dustin Hoffman's Carl Bernstein in the investigative drama All the President's Men. The late 70s saw a slowdown in his acting as he gradually turned to directing. Aside from Ordinary People, he also guided The Quiz Show and A River Runs Through It. His impressive body of work won him an honorary Oscar in 2002. In recent years, the former heartthrob has had even bigger fish to fry as the founder of the Sundance Film Festival. Named after his character in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the festival's home is a ski resort in Utah, which Robert bought with his early career earnings. Since starting the annual festival up in 1981, Robert has seen Sundance expand into one of the world's most prestigious independent film events, with a growing focus on documentaries.
Anxiety at the moment, pleasure in the general sense.
I didn't know whether it was going to make it or not. And because it was not going to be about commerciality, it was going to be about a kind of diversity and new product and new voices, a place for discovery, but I didn't know whether that was going to work or not. But at any rate, once the thing got going and it looked like we were going to survive and we had a platform to work from, we then had the chance to expand the so-called mission, if you want. And I saw documentaries as something that should be promoted, and that we should use the festival to promote documentaries heavily because the mainstream was not really allowing them any space.
And Robert's driving force has been to fill the widening gaps left by mainstream cinema.
The mainstream industry is okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, the mainstream industry over the last 25 years has moved more and more to satisfying younger and younger people. So now it's like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and that's okay. And they're very heavily dependent on special effects with the new technology. I'm more interested in the humanistic side of cinema. And so therefore, independent film is much more directed into real stories about real people, and that's what interests me.
What doesn't interest him is his own profile. And although he is aware of the publicity his celebrity status lends to Sundance, he is keen to ensure focus remains firmly on the films selected for screening.
I'm not that comfortable celebrating myself, and there's so many red carpets, so many places that I'm more interested in what the purpose is, which is showing the films. And I'm more interested in the filmmakers who really benefit from the experience by having their work seen.
But while Robert's own agenda may take a back seat at the festival, he's certainly not afraid to air his political views as a filmmaker. His latest film, Lions for Lambs, which stars Tom Cruise, contains plenty of anti-Bush sentiment.
I'd be interested to look at this film 5 years from now, because in looking at Redford's career, you look at The Candidate, it's actually even more relevant today than it was when he made it, or All the President's Men. These films have a longevity, and I think that any film that, on any level, that we can engage audiences, it's been very interesting and exciting hearing the dialogue after seeing this film.
Starring and directed by Robert, Lions for Lambs follows 3 interconnecting storylines, one of which involves 2 US soldiers stationed in Afghanistan as part of a new military push into Iraq. It reflects Robert's determination to tackle the tough subjects.
Look, there's a lot of issues out there that some people don't want to face, but they're there and they're real, and they might have to be looked at because, you know, who knows? If you don't expose these things, if you don't put the light on them, then they could get worse, or they could more damage could be done.
Robert has also launched an initiative to raise awareness of environmental issues. The Green offers regularly scheduled programming on the Sundance Channel. airing documentaries about planet Earth and promoting ideas for sustainable living.
The Sundance Channel is committed to is telling stories that show people what they can do and examples and showing them other people just like them that are doing things and places they can go to join those people doing things. But it's things that you can do yourself with your own hands right in your own home.
This glamour model reportedly lost her topless job in The Sun after the British tabloid implemented a natural beauty policy, declaring its infamous page 3 a silicone-free zone. But when one door closes, another opens. And it's fair to say that Jordan, who now goes by her real name of Katie Price, has never been daunted by setbacks. Born in Brighton, England in 1978, Jordan attempted to cross over from modelling to acting and struck out at an audition for Baywatch. She then bravely took a stab at politics. Jordan ran as a candidate in Britain's 2001 general election under the slogan, "For a bigger and better future." As part of her election campaign, she promised free breast implants, increases on nudist beaches, and a ban on parking tickets. She polled 1.78% of the by-election vote before moving on to her next endeavour, having a baby with Sunderland soccer star Dwight Yorke. The couple split up while Jordan was pregnant, and photos featuring her whooping it up at nightclubs were splashed all over the tabloids, along with reports she was having a fling with teenage singer Gareth Gates. Tragically, her son Harvey was born blind and autistic. The same year, Jordan was treated for cancer on her finger, but even these major hurdles did nothing to slow her down. Within a year, she was monkeying around the jungle on the reality show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, with her future mate, Australian pop singer Peter Andre. 6 months into their relationship, Jordan was pregnant with their son Junior. Determined not to waste her downtime, she sat down to write her first autobiography, Being Jordan, which went straight to #1 on the British bestseller list in January 2005. Less than a year on, she'd packed in enough life experience to warrant the release of another, which became another bestseller. With no beans left to spill, she branched out into fiction with the aid of ghostwriter Rebecca Farnsworth. And in July 2006, she caused a commotion with the launch of her first novel, Angel.
Actually, on the way in the carriage, I was so embarrassed because the police were stopping the traffic, and I'm like, oh my God, this probably only happens to the Queen, and to window shop along Oxford Street in a carriage was the first.
By that time, she was expecting her third child and exploiting her private life to the hilt in reality shows on ITV2. With the aid of the odd jewellery collection, perfume range and lingerie line, she'd milked just about every available penny out of the British public. The time was nearly right to drag Peter and the kids stateside.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not thinking about it. I know it's going to happen. The thing is, there's so many people who are like, oh, I'm going to go to America, I'm going to do this and that. And the thing is with me, I don't say anything unless I know it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen.
The enterprising all-rounder landed a sweet deal with E! Entertainment to screen their reality show Katie and Peter. But she wasn't impressed with suggestions that they were trying to emulate fellow expat opportunists Posh and Bex.
I actually don't know them. Obviously, I know them in England. But no, we do our own thing, they do their own thing. We're just completely different.
The word is that you and Victoria, there was
If people get my first book, my first autobiography, let them read up on it and let them judge it then.
Let's just say David's a lovely guy. He's a nice guy.
Then it was back to London to promote her second novel, Crystal, ahead of the arrival of her next marketable commodity.
No, I want to conquer the world, so you'll probably see me going all the way around the world. I definitely want to do America, because I've always wanted to do America like everybody does. I want to try and help people in any way I can,
Does your husband come into this situation?
In a minute it does. I want to have more kids.
With me?
Just get a taste of me, what I'm about, and everything that I've got to offer.
But conquering the world may have to wait until she's got herself back in shape.
One thing with me, I've had my boobs done, I've had lipo done, and I had Botox. Obviously, I haven't now because I'm pregnant. And what's the big deal? I don't know why people hide the fact if they've had surgery, so what? And I am going to get my boobs done again after this baby because they're quite old now. I've had 3 kids. They've dropped that way a bit. And I want a new pair.
This controversial judge appeared as a contestant on Sale of the Century in 1990. Simon Cowell might be rolling in it now, but when his fanfare record label went bust in 1989, he was forced to move back into his parents' home in Hertfordshire, England. However, it didn't take him long to get back on his feet, finding his level by releasing novelty recordings featuring the Teletubbies and Zig and Zag in the 90s. He also signed up boy bands Five and Westlife to his S Records stable. He stepped up into the spotlight in 2001 as a judge on Britain's hit reality TV show Pop Idol, and set about becoming one of the most reviled personalities on television. Crushing the confidence of nearly every contestant that stood before him, no blow was too low for the man who liked to preface his criticisms with, "I don't mean to be rude, but..." His infamy won him a berth on the US version of the show American Idol, and in 2006, he signed a contract to continue the abuse for another 5 years, for the nominal sum of $40 million a year. Back in Britain, he started his own talent show, X Factor, produced by his company Psycho. It quickly became the biggest talent show in Europe, effectively sidelining Pop Idol. In 2006, X Factor was up for a BAFTA award in the only category voted for by the general public.
Yeah, you know what? I would rather be voted for by the public than the committee, though.
Why?
I don't know, it just means more. You know, at the end of the day, you're trying to appease viewers, not panels of people, so I kind of prefer that.
It won the award for Best Entertainment Programme. And with first refusal rights to sign up any X Factor talent he took a shine to, he was laughing all the way to the bank. As well as a few other notable reality show franchises such as Got Talent, Celebrity Duets, Grease is the Word and Rock Rivals, he's also been hard at work manufacturing money spinners like Il Divo. Made up of 3 opera singers and 1 pop singer, the Divos have released 2 smash hit albums and have been packing them in on world tours. Simon followed up that success with his next formula, 6 children performing a mixture of traditional hymns and pop called Angelus. This regal Australian was originally slated to star in Miss Potter, but had to pull out due to scheduling conflicts. In fact, Cate Blanchett's acting services have been in such great demand of late, she's decided to opt for a change of pace.
Taking a bit of time off from acting, my husband and I are taking over the Sydney Theatre Company, the co-artistic direction of the company in January. And I've just finished working with Steven Spielberg and David Fincher on 2 films, and have 2 films coming out, so that's enough acting for a while for me.
After rising to the challenge of reprising her 1998 role as the Virgin Queen in Elizabeth the Golden Age, she took on the unenviable task of playing Bob Dylan in I'm Not There, which won her the Volpe Cup at the Venice Film Festival.
Congratulations on Venice.
Oh, thanks. It was really cool. I was so happy.
Did you ever think you'd be honored playing Dylan?
No, I didn't. I was scared witless, actually.
She also got to star in the hotly anticipated Lucas Spielberg collaboration, which returns crusty adventurer Indiana Jones to the big screen in The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Then there was the curious case of Mr. Button, which reunited her with her Babel co-star Brad Pitt, who she refers to as a sweetheart. No doubt there'll be lots of sweethearts and darlings during her term as co-artistic director of the Sydney Theatre Company, alongside her writer-director husband Andrew Upton. After years of continual upheaval, the couple and their 3 children will at last be able to enjoy a modicum of stability during the 3-year stint at the STC. Not that Cate has any complaints about her movie star lifestyle. The daughter of a naval officer has come a long way from her own school days in Melbourne. She remembers herself as part extrovert, part wallflower. At the age of 23, she moved to Sydney to study at the National Institute of Dramatic Arts, where co-star-to-be Geoffrey Rush first saw her perform.
Because I saw Kate in her final year at drama school and was, just as an audience member, completely astonished by her capabilities. And then the following year we got to do a play together and we did some more theatre. And then 10 years ago we ended up on a soundstage at Shepperton, dressed as Queen Elizabeth I of Walsingham and going, how did we get here? What happened?
Her Oscar-nominated performance in Elizabeth was succeeded by a staggeringly diverse array of starring and supporting roles in films like The Talented Mr. Ripley, Pushing Tin, An Ideal Husband, The Gift, Lord of the Rings, The Missing and Veronica Guerin. The role that finally brought her a Best Supporting Oscar was her interpretation of Katharine Hepburn in 2004's The Aviator. Far from dampening her passion, that acknowledgement of her talents only spurred her on to take even greater risks by playing a heroin addict in Little Fish, a Holocaust-surviving prostitute in The Good German, and a teacher who has sex with an underage schoolboy in Notes on a Scandal.
I love characters presented warts and all. I mean, I think that's otherwise what's there to play if there's no dilemma, if there's no journey for a character? It becomes very bland.
That attitude to her work has won her some very high-up admirers.
I think she's phenomenal. I think she's a really rare creature in that she dares to do things, dares to take on very, very challenging projects, and never seems to me to take the easy way out of things, that she will choose something that's difficult and probably not perhaps what she would imagine that she would do next, It's full of integrity.
Dame Judy's glowing comments serve as a great reference for one of Kate's most recent extracurricular endeavours. She has been recruited as the ambassador for a high-end skincare line by Procter & Gamble.
I'm here today on behalf of SK2. I've been working with the brand in Australia officially as an ambassador for about 3 years, but unofficially as an ambassador for about 7. When I discovered the product, I'm quite evangelical about it. And now I'm going global with them, which I was absolutely flattered that they asked me.
One can't help predicting that with skin as flawless as her reputation, Kate's endorsement of SK2 will see it flying off pharmacy shelves quicker than you can say cash or credit.